You know, some of the most powerful performances you'll ever see in a movie carry this hidden, profound weight. They're more than just acting. They are a final testament, this last incredible burst of creative energy from an artist who is literally facing their own mortality. We're going to explore the unbelievable strength and dedication behind these final, unforgettable roles. It's a question that, once you know the answer, completely changes how you view these films. Is it an act of pure defiance, a private gift for loved ones, or is it just that fundamental, unstoppable need of an artist to create, right up until the very end? We're going to take a look behind the curtain, where life and art came together in the most powerful ways imaginable. So, first up, let's talk about the stories of those who waged a private war while standing right in the public spotlight. These are the actors who chose to keep their life-threatening illnesses a complete secret, channeling their entire being into their work without ever letting the world know the true cost. And you really can't talk about this without starting with the brilliant Chadwick Boseman. We all knew him as the King of Wakanda in Black Panther, of course. But this was an immense talent who also brought legends like Jackie Robinson and James Brown to life. But it was in his final role that he showed us a whole different kind of strength, one that fused his incredible talent with just unbelievable personal courage. I mean, just think about that timeline for a second. Boseman gets diagnosed in 2016, the very same year he first shows up as Black Panther. So for 4 years, while he's carrying the weight of a global franchise and delivering some of the most physically demanding roles of his career, he was privately going through surgeries and chemotherapy. His performance as the fiery, ambitious trumpeter Levy Green is absolutely electric. It is filled with rage, passion, and this deep, simmering pain. Knowing what he was going through now makes it almost unbelievably courageous. This line, it just perfectly captures the fire he brought to that character. But it's not just about a musician's pride. Watching it now, it feels like a declaration from Boseman himself. A defiant roar from an artist who refused to be defined or diminished by his illness, pouring every last ounce of his talent onto the screen for all of us to see. And you know, that same kind of defiant spirit, it can show up in the most unexpected places. Before he was the scenery-chewing M. Bison, Raul Julia was a titan of the stage and screen, known for his Shakespearean intensity and his magnetism. And he brought that same energy to every single role, whether it was in a prestige drama or, well, in this case, a live-action video game movie. Now, what fueled this performance is the most important part of the story. Julia's health was failing dramatically during production. He was frail, he was in constant pain, and he'd lost a significant amount of weight. So why? Why commit so completely to this over-the-top villain? The answer was simple. His kids loved the game. He knew this might be his last film, and he chose to make it a gift specifically for them. And this is what's so fascinating, right? The movie came out, and it was a critical and commercial flop, total bomb. But over time, as the story of Julia's motivation came out, people started to rewatch it. They looked past the cheesy dialogue and realized that one person on screen was giving this incredible, commanding performance. His dedication transformed a failed blockbuster into a beloved cult classic, a testament not just to his professionalism, but to his deep love for his family. Okay, so not every battle was fought in secret. Sometimes an actor's struggle was known to their cast and crew. And in these cases, we see something truly remarkable. The power of a creative family rallying together, making sure their friend could finish their work with dignity and on their own terms. John Cazale had one of the most, astonishingly perfect careers in Hollywood history. It's actually insane. He only appeared in 5 feature films before he died, but every single one of them was nominated for Best Picture. He was Fredo in The Godfather. He was in Dog Day Afternoon, The Conversation, just a true actor's actor. His final role was in The Deer Hunter. This story, it's just incredible. When the studio found out about his terminal diagnosis, they tried to fire him, saying the insurance costs were impossibly high. But that's when his creative family stepped in. The director, Michael Cimino, his fiancée Meryl Streep, and his close friend Robert De Niro all threatened to walk off the film if Cazale was removed. They literally put their careers on the line for him, and their loyalty is the reason we have his last haunting performance today. He passed away shortly after he finished all his scenes. And this kind of on-set family, this solidarity, it's not just a thing of the past. A much more recent example is Kamar Reyes. He was a hard-working actor on the rise, and he landed this major role as the superhero White Tiger in Marvel's Daredevil, Born Again. It was a huge break for him, but tragically, he too was battling cancer. The director remembered seeing that Dallas Reyes was in clear pain during the shoot and would constantly check on him, but Dallas Reyes would just wave him off, totally determined to see it through. This quote, it just captures that immense personal fortitude. He wasn't just doing a job, he was seizing a dream role, and he refused to let immense physical pain stop him. And even though he passed away before the series was released, his work stands as this powerful, permanent tribute to that incredible spirit. So, what happens when the credits roll, the film is out, and the world learns the truth? Well, these performances, they get completely recontextualized. Lines of dialogue suddenly take on new, heartbreaking meanings. A simple gesture becomes a profound farewell. Let's look at how this transformation really cements an actor's legacy. Man, Robin Williams, he was just a force of nature, wasn't he? A comedic genius who could also just break your heart with his dramatic depth. His energy felt limitless, and that's why his death in 2014 was so shocking. What many of us didn't know was that in his final years, he was fighting this terrifying, invisible battle inside his own mind. He was suffering from a debilitating brain disease called Lewy body dementia, but he never got an accurate diagnosis while he was alive. He just knew something was terribly wrong. And despite this immense internal struggle, he came back to play Teddy Roosevelt one last time. What's so touching is the gentleness he brought to the role this time, which was a real departure from the character's usual boisterousness. It almost feels like we're seeing the real man peeking through the performance. And this is the character's farewell line in the film. When the movie was released 4 months after Williams' death, this line was no longer just a sweet goodbye between two characters. It became a final, poignant piece of advice from Robin Williams to all of us. It's absolutely heartbreaking, but it's also beautiful, and it's impossible to hear it now without thinking of his incredible legacy. From a comedic legend, we go to an absolute icon of horror, Vincent Price, with that unmistakable voice and elegant menace. He defined the genre for generations, so it's incredibly fitting that his final on-screen appearance was in this dark, beautiful fairy tale, in a role written specifically for him by a director who idolized him, Tim Burton. Price was so frail by this point that his intended role had to be cut down significantly. He simply didn't have the strength for more. And yet, in the few minutes he has on screen, he's mesmerizing. Instead of some mad scientist, he gives us this gentle, almost heartbreakingly lonely father figure, a performance of quiet longing that serves as the perfect, tender final chapter to a career spent playing magnificent monsters. Okay, so why? Why do these specific performances resonate so deeply with us? We've seen these stories of secret battles, of on-set solidarity, and of legacies completely transformed by tragedy. But what's the common thread that makes them so unforgettable? Ultimately, I think it all comes down to one thing: authenticity. We are witnessing something profoundly real. These actors aren't just portraying a character's struggle. In many ways, they're living it. They're channeling their own pain, their own defiance, their own love, their own mortality directly into their art. It's a final, generous act of sharing their own humanity, and it's captured forever on film. This line was delivered by actress Catherine Coulson in the revival of Twin Peaks. Now, she was visibly and terminally ill with cancer while filming her scenes from her own home. She knew she was dying, and she chose to deliver these beautiful, philosophical lines about life and death. Her performance, it wasn't just acting. It was her final statement. It was a moment where art and life truly became one. Art is powerful, but when we understand the human story behind it, it becomes something more. It becomes eternal. It reminds us that even when you're facing the ultimate deadline, the creative spirit can burn its absolute brightest. It really makes you wonder what other masterpieces are out there, holding secrets we may never even know.